Welcome back. This is the last video for this resume, and we're going to dig into those accomplishments. So, what do I mean by accomplishment? I'm not talking about awards and accolades. Accomplishments on your resume are things you did better than anyone else, or things that you did that improved a process, a system, or just generally made a positive impact on your organization. This is what employers want to see. What can you do for their company? How are you going to be a positive impact? These bullets need to be focused to things that you have done that directly apply to the role to which you are applying. So, if you're a badass typist and you're applying for a position as a live trainer, leave the typing skills off the resume and opt instead to include all those times you did professional development for the entire faculty at your school. Let's take a look at what I mean. Okay, so this person has only had one role since they graduated based on the dates, and they listed it as educator. I would recommend that if you have done anything in addition to being a teacher, that you include that. So have you trained other teachers? Did you mentor another teacher? Have you led a committee? Have you led a team? Are you a department head? Did you do professional development? Anything like that would be great to include with your title as educator. I don't know why elementary is on here. I don't think that's necessary. The bullets here are accomplishments. What do we mean by accomplishments? You have to think of it in terms of what do you do better than anyone else? What are the things that you have done that improved a system, improved performance, or otherwise positively impacted your organization? So don't think of it in terms of awards and recognition. Think of it in terms of process improvements or things that you have done that other people were like, wow, that's awesome that you did that. Okay, so that's what an accomplishment is. Then we're gonna follow the rules of primacy, right? So what comes first is going to be the best, most important, most impactful thing that you did. You only have 3 seconds to grab the screener's attention, and you don't know where their eye is going to go. Okay, so if they read the summary first, then the first thing in your summary has to be the best part of you. If they read your skills section first, then the first skill has to be the best, coolest thing that you can do. If they go to your bullets first and that's what they're looking at, then the first bullet has to be the biggest impact. You want to make that impact wherever their eye falls on the page. What they're reading first is the best. Okay, so that is a rule that I feel like is going to get you much further in the game, even if you don't follow any other. So we've got adapted, created, collaborated, organized, conferenced, created, anticipated, and designed. All right, anticipated is not a skill. I would get rid of this completely. We've got 2 created. Basically, she designed classroom materials. I would combine these. I really don't think that they're important enough or awesome enough to be 2 separate bullets. So let's remove this one. I feel like creation is the better of the bullets. So I'm gonna put that one first. So created, and instead of created, let's do designed and developed. Okay, so designing means that you came up with the idea, right? So lesson planning is design. What is the order? What is the flow? How are we going to break this up? Who's going to do what when? How are we going to adapt? That's all design. That's the design process. Development is taking that design and turning it into artifacts. Okay, so created lessons, created artifacts becomes designed and developed. Okay, designed and developed. what we call hands-on in teaching is experiential learning in the corporate world, but I think it translates the same way. I don't think that if you have to use experiential on a resume, orientation and hands-on activities. Okay, so what's the biggest part of what she did? She created engaging activities that were hands-on and gamified. Gamification is huge right now in ID. So if you can tell someone that you know how to gamify something, then that they're going to be all over that. Even if they don't actually incorporate it into their materials, knowing that you know how to do that is a big thing. So we went from 2 created to 1 designed and developed, and it's more succinct. Adapted instructional materials. This is also a huge one because a lot of companies are doing this. They are taking their hands-on instructor-led materials and making them virtual. So if you already know how to do that, you already have a system in place. That's another thing that you would definitely want to include. I don't feel like organized and led team meetings is an accomplishment. I would get rid of testing. Analyze, get rid of data. I don't think organizing team meetings is a skill. I'm gonna ditch that. Conference with stakeholders to gather information, identify learner goals and objectives to recommend appropriate learning strategies. This is very teacher specific, but it translates into meeting with SMEs, right? Parents are SMEs on their children. So I think that's a stretch though, to say that you conference with SMEs. I would say I'm going to ditch that. So I completely overlooked this one initially, Design and Led Diversity Festival. This is project management. So this just want a spot at the top. Moving to the front of the class. Oops. Formatting. Gotta love it. Designed and led. I'm going to go to my verbs list. We're going to take this to spearheaded. Spearheaded, which means that you were the leading, the driving force behind it. Spearheaded Diversity Festival, which, now I don't know if she did spearhead the festival or the team, but she said she designed the team. Okay, spearheaded Diversity Festival and cultivated team. And then you can just add a little description about what the Diversity Festival is. I would put things in here about budget, okay, on budget, under budget, and then was this a recurring event? Was it the first in its inaugural year? We had this many participants, and we had this percent more participants in the year that I ran it. So, all right, so I would change this from collaborated with teammates to promoted. What's the purpose of collaboration? To increase. We've shrunk this down quite a bit. I think changing the formatting, I don't understand. I don't understand these things. I understand like it's a thing and it's cool to have all these bells and whistles, but I don't know. I don't understand it. But I think that you definitely, if you're going to have project management, then you should list the different projects that you've managed and how were they successful. I don't know what learning models means. I just think this is a waste of space on your resume. And now that we've taken, and I think probably because she is so new to work, that she's only had 1 job, she probably didn't feel like she had enough on her resume. But if the stuff that's there is more impactful, then I think that it would do much better. And you can play with the font. So this font is 7.5. That is that right? That is so tiny. I'm going to reformat this resume see what it looks like when I reformat it. So here is the final version of the reformatting. So the font is now an 11-point font. So if someone is printing this out and giving it to, so if an HR person is getting this and then printing it and giving it to the hiring manager, which does still happen, then you really do want the font to be large enough for them to read. Now, I understand that they can zoom in on it electronically, but if they're not looking at it electronically, then you're really making it very difficult for people to read. It's much cleaner. Now, because it is short, this person only has one job of experience. I would recommend including more bullets, but not just, not the bullets that we had. We want to include bullets that are specific to instructional design or project management, because project management is part of instructional design. I would also create a portfolio and link your portfolio to the resume, or maybe you organize or run a club. That would be good to include on there. But definitely, you want to keep it clean and simple. So looking at the resume, I prefer simple, linear, and you're going to drive the eye where you want it to go. So I'm probably going to start at the top and work my way down. Some people are going to jump right down to experience. You could play with the sizing and the colors on some of this. So you might make this up to 16, right? You could play with some of the coloring. You could put an underline underneath of this or something like that. But a couple of more bullets here that spell out, your time management, your ability to communicate, things like that. And then I would definitely include a cover letter also. I feel like this person has the work experience, but doesn't have enough different variety of roles. Now, if at this school you had gone from being a teacher, first year teacher, to being a team lead or whatever, then I would include several positions. So I would start out as educator from 2017 to 2019, and then team lead from 2019 to 2020, and then list the responsibilities that you had as team lead separately from the roles that you had as an educator. And then that shows that you have progressed within your company, within the school, while you were there. You weren't just a teacher, right? So try to keep that stigma off your back by including all the different things that you did as a teacher. And there we go. Even though we removed a lot of stuff in this resume, we added a hefty portion of meat and potatoes. You want your resume to be hearty, filling, and full of flavor. When the screener puts it down, they should leave with a sense of who you are and what you can do if you're hired for this position. Don't add accomplishments just to take up space. No one has time to dig through the good, the bad, and the ugly. They just want to see the awesome. No one will know what you can do if you don't show them. If you feel like you need some help, subscribe to my blog and submit your resume for a video review. Whatever you do, don't give up on yourself. You got this.